Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Simply Spiritual. How's it going? So, I know it's been a hot minute since I published a last video, but I thought I would do another one just to kind of give an overview as to what I see coming up in the not too distant future. So, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this channel, share with your friends and family. Let them know what this channel is all about so that way they kind of have some insight going forward into the future coming up. So let's get started, shall we? So first of all, I would kind of like to break down the predictions that I've made so far in the past. Now, just as a disclaimer, I'm not perfect, I'm human, and I see things the way that I see things. And sometimes when I give timing on a certain issue or when I see certain things coming up, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen right then and there. Sometimes these predictions do take a little bit of time for them to actually manifest. So far we are seeing a lot of what I explain unfolding. Now, I know that in my last predictions, I was very adamant as far as the elections were concerned. Now, my intuitive feeling felt like we wouldn't necessarily see a president in this term in 2021. Now, obviously, Joe Biden was elected and inaugurated, and he is now acting president. However, as I mentioned in my last predictions as well, is that I didn't necessarily see a permanent position for anyone for that matter. And I always felt like a female energy role kind of stepping in. So we're going to have to see still how things are going to unfold with this new presidential election with Joe Biden. Now, my intuition is still feeling very, very strongly that this is temporary. And I have a feeling that in the next few months, we're definitely going to see some interesting situations unfold, which bring things to light that could actually kind of cause a change within the administration. Now, what I was kind of getting from my cards is that I was picking up on some sort of illness around Joe Biden. But the interesting thing about this illness that I saw, it seemed to be some sort of like hidden secret of some sort, because I remember pulling the Seven of Swords. When you usually get that card in the deck, that means that there's some sort of deception involved. The next thing I did see was the Queen of Wands and the Justice card. So that is a very strong indicator that there is basically kind of a plan to get Joe Biden to step down in order to potentially get Kamala Harris up and running. And I think a lot of people had been feeling that intuitively when she was chosen for his running mate, that she was meant to step forward as the president of the United States. So I do really believe that there is some sort of agenda brewing here as far as their ultimate plan. Now, what we're starting to see since Joe Biden has been elected is a lot of confusion, especially with regards to people that actually voted for him. Basically not necessarily keeping his campaign promises or doing the complete opposite of what he said, as well as, putting a lot of job security at risk. And so a lot of people are very confused by this and are feeling kind of upset about all of these new changes that are being implemented. Now, as far as my prediction is concerned, in the next 30 days, now I'm doing this, this is what, the 26th, 27th, I think. I don't know what day it is, but in the next 30 days, we are definitely going to see a lot of this boiling up as far as people really not agreeing with how this new administration is going to be running. And we're going to actually see this from both sides. We're already starting to see it, but I really feel like this energy is going to take off, especially in the month of February. We may actually start to see some chaos erupting this last week of January, but I really feel starting in February, we are going to see much more of this energy coming forward, and bringing awareness to what's actually going on. Now, the interesting thing about February is the month of Aquarius, and because we are in the age of Aquarius, this definitely means that there is a revolutionary shift taking place. And we are going to also see 7 different planets in the sign of Aquarius actually in February. And so that is basically going to bring on this revolution. So obviously, the title of this video is Viva la Revolución, and we are definitely going to see this revolution taking place, which could be exciting for most, but I think that it could also be unnerving for a lot of people too, because with any sort of revolution, there will be chaos. Chaos will definitely ensue. So that means that we're going to see a lot more protests, we're going to see a lot more rioting, we're going to see a lot more violence. But ultimately, we are going to start to see a unification taking place. This unification will be between both conservatives and the liberal parties, kind of understanding that they have been played ultimately, that this is just a show, this is a game. And let's face it, Joe Biden is a puppet. He's not necessarily making these rules or executive orders. Essentially, what's going on is that he's basically being told what to do, and he's just doing it. They're taking advantage, unfortunately, of a frail old man who can't really think too much for himself right now. So he's basically kind of taking orders from the higher ups. So I think more and more people are going to start to realize that there's definitely an agenda here. He was put in office to basically be a puppet, but when he is no longer able to serve as puppet, then we're going to have a new puppet step in. However, ultimately, this is going to be, again, a temporary situation. I ultimately feel that there is going to be a complete restructuring and overhaul within the United States government, not only our government, but in world governments. And I've been touching on this in other predictions before, is that we are going to see a full-fledged uprising on the planet, consciousness, awakening, people realizing that there's definitely a bigger agenda at play. So it's not just the United States that's doing this crazy nonsense, it's the whole world. There's definitely an agenda. And this is something that people are starting to pay attention to, and they're waking up to. Now, we're also kind of starting to see these developments taking place even now. Gavin Newsom just recently ordered the end of the lockdowns, so I believe beginning today. And coincidentally enough, these lockdowns are going away after Joe Biden has been inaugurated as president. So even though that the COVID cases seem to be rising exponentially and people dying left and right, somehow they're like, you know what, we should open. Now, I have nothing wrong. I have no qualms against opening our state back up. In fact, hell yeah, that's awesome. However, it just goes to show that these lockdowns were used for political purposes in order to make Donald Trump look bad, that he was crashing the economy, that this was all his responsibility. So now we're going to start to see governors open up their states in order to make Biden look good. Like, oh, look, Biden's restoring the country. You know, he's opening things back up. What a dope dude. But in reality, that has been the plan all along. Now, I do feel like they're going to still try to implement the mask thing and still keep the fear mongering going on for a little longer. And I feel like they're using mostly this agenda to push the vaccinations, which just bad news bears. But I really feel like in the next few months, starting especially like mid-February, March time is when I feel like people are going to start to feel like a sense of relief, and possibly do away with the mask by this springtime. Now, my guides keep on pointing to the month of April. There seems to be something very significant that will be taking place in April. And for whatever reason, it does actually feel very positive to me, even though my guides aren't necessarily disclosing everything that, you know, is going to be happening, but they're actually definitely giving me like, this is going to be a good month. Just wait and see what happens. So my feeling is that we're going to actually see a lot of truth come to light. And I feel like maybe April is like a catalyst month when we actually really start to see some positive movement and changes moving forward. You know, this could be with travel, opening things back up like in a more secure way. I would assume that COVID would be null and void by that time. So we're going to have to kind of see how developments play out by the month of April, but we're definitely going to see some interesting things happen in the next couple months. So we have a lot to look forward to, especially starting in the month of February. Again, it is going to be very chaotic and very kind of crazy, but again, this is going to be the mark of the revolution, which is something that we've been waiting for a long time. This revolution will change humanity and consciousness as we know it. So this is something that we could all look forward to and openly embrace, knowing that you will be protected during this point in time. Obviously, keep your vibration high and don't allow yourself to give into fear or anger, because that's only going to set you back from the path that you need to be on. So just think about that. Now, on a personal level, for a lot of people, this is going to be an amazing year. Now, I'm not saying for everybody, but I'm saying for a good chunk of people that actually went through their awakening processes in 2020. So if they had a challenging 2020, but then also started to notice changes happening, it's only going to get better for these people. So if you're one of those people that have gone through an immense awakening process in the last year, just you wait, because you are going to experience some major blessings in your life coming up. A lot of this also has to do with soulmates. We are in the process of raising the vibration of the planet. So what we're going to start to see is that people that are in alignment with their true love will finally start to unite with their true loves. The love vibration is actually the highest vibration on the planet. So, you know, in order to get to the planet where we want to be vibrationally, matching up with our perfect soul partners is going to be the best way to go about that. So for those singletons out there that have been struggling with your love lives, well, this may actually be your lucky break. Now, I'm not saying everybody is going to meet their soulmate this year, but I feel like a good chunk of people will be. Now, a good chunk of people are also going to be leaving relationships that are no longer serving them too, whether it's friendships or romantic partnerships, or associations, whichever. People are going to start to wake up and realize that they need to pull themselves out of these situations in order to start anew. So there will be a lot of new beginnings happening on a very personal level with individuals. Now, there will still be some people that will go through suffering and hardships, but it's only to be able to change you on a personal level. It's to help you evolve. So you're not cursed. I don't want you to think that you're cursed or that it's bad karma. However, I'm sure some of you guys, hopefully none of you guys, but some people in the world will end up suffering some karmic consequences, especially if they have been shady or have had ulterior motives. We are going to see a lot of that energy as far as people actually getting karmic justice. Enter Biden. Which that kind of brings me to the next point where I absolutely do see people, you know, especially like in politics or people that have been pushing a negative agenda. We're going to see some interesting developments this summer. In fact, I think we could actually start to see this developing in April, May time, where there will be an exposure of corruption, therefore leading to trials and ultimately arrests. So we are going to see a lot of movement and a lot of change. This will bring up like this anarchy, this tension, this anger, but a lot of truths will be revealed during this time too, which will be confusing for a lot of people, because if people kept on watching the mainstream media and was believing everything that they were saying, and then their world gets flipped upside down with all this new information, it's definitely going to create chaos. You know, people are going to be angry and they're going to be upset. So we will start to see, you know, the uprising energy again, like I said. So, you know, again, it's very important to keep you guys yourselves aware of everything that's to take place, but know that these are going to be very amazing and exciting changes moving forward. Now, I want to touch on also, aside from what I see happening or developing throughout this year, I also see again, a lot of these strange weather patterns. And again, we've been seeing a lot of that in the last year, especially like in 2020, and then moving forward into this year in 2021. I do get a really strong sense of like a massive heat wave hitting this summer, and it does feel like I keep on seeing images of the sun. So I would also kind of say like there could be some sort of like solar storm that could end up erupting, that could end up causing some issues on Earth, and that could actually possibly knock out satellites or even electric or power grids. So just be prepared for that. I think we're going to definitely see a lot of this heat coming in places that we don't normally see heat. So like in places like in Northern Europe or whatever, like Norway could have like, you know, super hot days or something like that. So I definitely feel like we will be expecting some sort of like extreme weather patterns coming up in the summertime. And winter's also a bit funky here too, but summertime seems very significant. I also feel like there will be some false flag attempts as well. This is to keep us in suppression and into fear, especially as we're uprising. They're going to try to do everything they can to keep us in fear and to kind of lock us down again to a certain extent. So be prepared for attacks or terroristic type of threats or activities. This is all going to be orchestrated by higher up people. One thing I do see, interestingly enough, I got information from my guides. I got the words EMP. So that makes me feel that there could be some sort of EMP attack coming from another country that could possibly kind of wipe out communications or create some sort of issues with when it comes to the power grids or communications. So something to be cognizant about. One thing that's super exciting, like I've touched on before, is alien disclosure. I'm 99.9% sure that there will be full disclosure of extraterrestrial life this year, and possibly some sort of, I don't want to say invasion, but I feel like it's just going to be like an announcement in a sense, where aliens are going to show up and be very forward about their presence. So don't be afraid, because they're actually here to evolve our consciousness and to lead us in a better path moving forward. So in a nutshell, again, guys, a lot to look forward to this year. I know a lot of this stuff I've touched in previous videos, but I'm just kind of doing a recap just to keep you guys aware of what's to come, what to look forward to, and like how to prepare yourself. Oh, and one thing that I did mention is that earthquakes are going to be pretty significant this year. I've been feeling a big earthquake occurring, especially in the state of California. It seems to be centralized. I want to say like it could start in Central California or near the Bay Area. I'm kind of getting around, maybe I want to say Concord. I don't know. Maybe around that area. I get a C name. And I feel like it's going to be a significant enough earthquake to where it radiates on the San Andreas Fault, and actually pretty much the entire state of California may end up feeling it, as well as other states. But I feel like we're also going to see earthquakes in other states that don't normally have them. I do see Pacific Northwest especially being affected, Oregon, Washington, Alaska. I think some places on the Midwest may even experience them. I do see also basically kind of like tidal waves, flood energy, especially on the East Coast. I think hurricane season will probably be pretty rough this year as well. I think other countries are also going to see massive earthquakes. I'm being pointed to something happening in Ukraine. I don't know if this is an earthquake, or it could be an earthquake because I see buildings being destroyed in the Ukraine for whatever reason, unless it's a war. But I do see destruction in Ukraine for whatever reason. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of energy wrapped up in Russia and the Ukraine this year. I think that there's definitely going to be some interesting developments. They could be even karmic on some level. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Let's pray for, those people. Hopefully they stay safe. Japan, I also see being affected, Indonesia. The country or the world will be going through some major shifting and some major trials, but, there will be positive changes that come out in the end. We just need to stick together and stay in that higher vibration. So I'm going to end on that note, not to put anybody in fear. I don't want anybody to be fearful, but you guys also need to know what to expect. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully you guys don't have nightmares or anything. Just be positive and just know that these changes are for the best. So if you like what you see, again, please like and subscribe to this video and share with your friends. I'm also on Instagram under It's Your Universe. That is actually the name of my brand. Simply Spiritual is just the name of this channel. So follow me on It's Your Universe. I will post the link here, and then also in my description box. And then if you would like to book a personal session with yours truly, you could also go to my website at itsyouruniverse.com and book a session with me today. And then I will be able to give you one of my amazing readings. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I